little bit sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
And we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Hi.
Hello.
Jello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I am Heather Terry.
And as you all know, or you may not know, this is our power hour of true crime with fucked up people doing fucked up shit for usually fucked up reasons or no reasons at all.
Yes. That is such a good summary.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is.
Which is sad.
Unfortunately.
I had, my family was watching TV today and I was like, I just want all of you to know that I need to watch some murder shit. So feel free to leave the room or watch this horrible thing. That is what this story is.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, we're recording early.
Yeah. Which everyone's going to know that. I think at the end of the day, pretty much anything that happens for the next 4 months is recorded in advance.
Yeah.
Because my ass is getting married.
Less than 3.
76 days.
Oh.
Yeah. A fun fact that I found out this weekend. So we have the Knot website, and that's where everyone RSVPs or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I have an Excel sheet that has everyone else. And so I pretty much have been just kind of living off the Excel sheet, kind of throwing some shit into the RSVP. Well, I found out yesterday, if your name isn't listed correctly in the Knot website, you can't RSVP.
Yeah.
And all the wedding invites went out, like this last week.
Yeah.
So I was getting text messages of people being like, I can't, says that I don't have a reservation. I'm like, what is this, a fucking restaurant on a busy Friday night?
I requested a table of 2.
I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And then I had only put like one person's name and they're like, am I allowed to bring my husband? Yes.
You have to type it, because they both show up.
It's either like Heather Terry, William Terry, which is what yours was, or it's like Heather's guest is like the other one.
Yeah. Did you get mine?
Yes, I did.
They were great.
They were wonderful.
I took a
Did
screenshot.
Will actually do that, or did you write that?
I feel like that was a given that I did. I said that.
I don't know. Will's a funny man.
He was like, of course you did. I sent him a screenshot and said, this is your RSVP. It was like that. He weeps during soft jazz. And what else was it?
I don't know. He loves Taylor Swift.
He loves Taylor Swift. Any female singers, Britney Spears. He's like, I'm a big guy with a bigger heart.
So I love it. Yeah. No, it's officially all wedding invites went out today. So I'm like,
it's a final countdown.
It is. Feels very real when the invites go out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is a day that's actually happening.
No turning back. This is going to come out whenever you're already.
I don't know when this one will come out.
Read.
Who knows? Who knows? Because we have a whole bunch of episodes before the wedding that we're not doing.
True.
So I have a feeling this is a wedding, or this is an episode 2 weeks before the wedding when I'm hyperventilating. So who knows? Who fucking knows? We need to not reference numbers or anything because I have no idea when this is going to come out. Just for fun, shits and giggles, it is March.
It's new.
It is March right now.
This is going to be a new episode at some point
to you
in 2024.
Indeed.
You're welcome.
I was like, is it? I forgot what year it was. So sad things that have happened. So if anyone's following, I guess we probably shouldn't be doing current events.
Well,
but
that's fine.
There's this poor. Do you remember the kid's name?
Let me look it up.
I thought Heather knew off the top of her head. I was hoping somehow. It's a really cute name, so I'm kind of surprised it's not like popping up in my head. But he was a 22-year-old who was partying in Nashville. And he went missing for 2 weeks and they were trying to find him and there were just kind of videos of him everywhere. And then all of a sudden he was just missing from the videos. What's his name?
Riley Strain.
Yeah,
he was a Missouri college student.
Yes. And he, his body was just found and he had drowned. He had fallen into, what was that?
The Cumberland, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was Lake
Cumberland River.
Oh, the Lake Cumberland. I'm a twat.
The river that runs through downtown in Nashville, they found his debit card down there. And then a week or 2 later, they found him. So it was sad.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
it took 2 sad weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a reminder. We all like to get loosey-goosey and party. And as women, we don't get the luxury of even... I think this was a horrible lesson learned that things can happen to anyone. Because women are constantly worried about us like being raped or attacked or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think you ever think I might get too drunk and stumble off of the side of the pavement. Like, I don't know the walking area enough there to like say too much, I guess. But no foul play. He really just fell into the water and drowned.
Yeah, it was sad. The mayor proposed, and I guess we'll see whenever this episode does end up coming out. There's probably going to be an update, but in a press conference, he mentioned that they should look into putting barriers downtown because there is a lot of partying stuff. It is a fun place to be, but you don't think about that it is still like one of the top 20 most dangerous cities, and you gotta be careful. I
don't think you ever think you're going to just trip and fall downtown.
No.
And fall into water. And I'm sure he just hit his head.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I'm sure he was able to, but
yeah,
it's the
sad.
trip on the way down. That's so sad. Mm-hmm. It's very sad. So speaking of sad stuff, I thought we could talk about more sad things.
Oh, on theme, on brand.
Yeah. Because we're going to, as we mentioned, we're going to be doing some solo episodes, if you will. So here's a solo episode brought to you by Brooklyn Maple.
A one-woman show.
I shall deliver. Do you remember the pig farmer?
I am vaguely familiar, but I don't remember anything. Like, I don't remember specifics about it. I do remember that we used to party at this place in Hancock County here in Kentucky in high school called the Pig Farm. And it used to be a pig farm. There was no even barn or anything. So it was just a field that was called the Pig Farm. So fun fact Sunday.
Well, that all sounds terrible because that's a lot like this story, but not.
Okay.
It is, but it's not.
Okay, good.
So this is my take on the pig farmer. I got my info from the Toronto Star, Wikipedia, all that's interesting. And then there's also a movie on Amazon called The Pig Farm.
Oh, there's a movie. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Sorry, I said movie. It's not a movie. It's a documentary type of ID channel type of deal. Everyone is very road hard and put up wet.
Yeah.
Like, it is definitely
I'm going to watch it tonight.
It's a whole bunch of people who were addicted to drugs, and they're talking, and you're like, are you not addicted to drugs now? Are you still addicted to drugs?
Oh.
Like, there's a lot going on there on like the scene of it, but there are movies, and I feel like the movies would be really, really, really fucked up.
Okay.
And be one of those movies where you're like, well, as long as I'm not a prostitute.
Oof.
Like, there are like, these stories suck, but I'm not a high crime job. Like a high risk position, if you will. So I'm always like, well, I'd be lucky. I wouldn't be in this scenario. There's no way I'd fucking fall into this fucking Venus flytrap, if you will. So Robert Pickton, he was born to Leonard Francis Pickton and Louise Helen Arnold. They are a family of pig farmers in Port Coquitlam, I think I'm saying that right, in British Columbia, which is 17 miles east of Vancouver. He has an older sister named Linda, and the family actually sent her off to live with other relatives in Vancouver because they were like, the farm isn't where a girl should be raised, which is very weird to me, kind of in general.
You're a lady, you can't be in the mud?
Well, you're going to realize more why I guess it really did make sense that they didn't fucking have their daughter there. It was Robert, and then he had a younger brother named David, and they started working at the farm at a very, very, very early age. They worked so fucking hard, sun up to sundown. They had a really demanding mom, and she would basically prioritize these pigs over her kids. They always smelled like feces. Ugh. They smelled like pigs. They never bathed. They never showered. It was just a very gross, just gross as fuck. He was born in 1949. I want to mention that just because at some point I am going to talk about whenever he decides to quit going to school. So as I mentioned, they'd go to school unwashed, dirty clothes. They smelled they were called Stinky Piggy in school.
Oh God.
Yeah. And Pickton had a strong attachment with his mom, and he had very little interaction with their father because he was super fucking abusive. Mm-hmm. And he struggled in school. He was in a special class, and he was failing the second grade. So not really like a good vibe to start life. Mm-mm. There are two storylines that seem to happen that essentially create this fucked up scenario. Obviously, if this was a meal, a dish, if you will, there are two big ingredients that you really have a flavorful bite.
You are leaning into this, and I love it. Okay,
and then
going.
Everything else on the plate still just adds to the overall deliciousness. But this is shit. This is a big pile of hot, steaming, ripe shit. Yes. So at the age of 12, Robert had this little calf that he loved, and it was only 2 weeks old. So he had this great relationship with this cow. And then he comes home from school one day, and he's looking for his cow, and it was obvious that it was his pet. And his dad's like, go look in the barn. And the cow was strung up, gutted, and butchered. Yeah, that was like step one. Ugh. There's no reason to kill a calf. Like, it's not like you want the calf to milk. I think this was just like a really shitty.
His dad's a piece of shit.
And it was like a calf. So it was too small for the meat. So really it was just I'm going to murder your pet.
He was being a dick.
Here's a life lesson for you. Yeah, just fucking cuntwad. So he dropped out of school in 1963, which apparently is something that you can do whenever you're 14 years old, and it's in the 60s because he was only 14. And he decided to become a meat cutter because that's what 14-year-olds do. I was like, that's just what my cow died.
That was my dream when I was 14. My parents shut it down. Yeah, right. That'd be something.
Yeah. He continued to do this for 7 years before leaving to work full time at the farm. In 94 and 95, he has two siblings, including the sister, who she's alive and in and around town, but whatever. She is involved. They all three get money. They get the farm. I'm pretty sure that the sister had like nothing to do with said farm. Like, she's not really in this storyline.
Yeah.
Now, the crazy thing about this farm is that they lived in basically like derelict, disgusting, like they said, every building on this property was basically just put together by like leftover pieces of wood from a different project. Like really just a piece of, shacks. But like, and they didn't care. Now, what didn't make any sense is that it was worth like $5 million. They were millionaires.
Whoa.
Yes.
Land?
They would have the land. Oh. The land was worth $1 gajillion, and they would sell off pieces of the land and they would build new properties there. And so they were a millionaire. The parents were millionaires the whole time. And they used to have all these pets in and out of the house. And it would just like, there was just shit everywhere. Like chicken shit, dog shit.
No.
Any kind of animal that was on the farm, pig shit was like in and out of the house. And so like these houses were just literally disgusting, but they were millionaires. So no one understands in all of this, in every scenario of everything that happens, why the parents made them live in full poverty. The kids never had new clothes. They had never had clean clothes. The parents didn't eat.
I was going to say, were they like that too?
Yeah. Like they just lived in complete poverty
for no reason,
and everyone knew about the pig farm because basically like there was some percentage, I don't remember, and who fucking cares, of like Canada's pork came from this farm. Like if you had any pork on your plate within like a 100-mile radius of that farm, it came from there.
So they lived in squalor for no reason. They could hire cleaning people.
Yes, anything. They could have done anything.
Yeah,
because they were millionaires.
Yeah.
So they inherited the land and they got $5.16 million whenever that happened. So there was this worker named Bill Hiscox. He called the farm a really creepy looking place. It was patrolled not by a dog or anything, no lassie, but a 600-pound boar.
Huh? Wait, what?
Yeah, a big ass boar just basically was like the guard dog, just fucking like, like running through. Yeah, because that's what I assume a boar does. They explained Pickton as like a pretty quiet guy, hard to strike up a conversation with. They said that he had like bizarre behavior, and there's no evidence in his life of him having any substance abuse that would like no one saw him do heroin or meth or crack in an environment later on where everyone's doing heroin, meth, or crack. I say meth because we're from here. It wasn't meth, but whatever. It was crack. It was crack and heroin.
Meth adjacent.
Yes. And so basically they're like, he had to have some type of like a mental health issue. Like homeboy was not all there upstairs. And that makes a lot of sense because of the whole like parent scenario anyway. Let me give you a paper cut. Sorry, I didn't realize that you needed the pen. Anyway, I mentioned, you know what's the struggle is when you write out all these notes and then you actually know the story really well and then you're just trying to like find where you are in your notes and you're like, well, I already said all of that shit.
Yeah,
so.
You looked up and you've been looking at me the whole time. It's like we're having coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Even after he grew up, he still stank like manure. Dead animals, dirt, all this shit. His clothes were never clean. He had a visceral fear of showers. Like his mom only let him take baths. I don't understand. I can't tell you anything about it. But he had a friend that would literally nag him and be like, you smell so bad. Like you smell too bad. I can't even deal with you. You have to go. Like this is your weekly bath. Like go back, go take a bath. You stanky motherfucker.
That's a good friend. I think we would do the same.
I would not be your friend.
We would not be friends.
At the end of the day, you're like, I would tell you if you, no, I would not be your friend. It's 2024. I'm not going to be your friend. If you smell like shit, I'm not going to be your friend.
Disclaimer, I don't.
No, she doesn't. She always smells very nice. So then there's this story about his younger brother. Now this one's really fucked up too. So his brother Dave was learning how to drive. And I guess he was driving with, Dave was driving with,
She's boring herself.
whoa, that yawn just
Big yawn. That's a big yawn.
just spanked me right in my mouth. So anyway, on the evening of October 16th, 1967, Dave is 16. He had recently gotten his driver's license, and he takes his father's 1960 red truck from the farm, and he's headed east along Dominion Avenue towards Burns Road because these streets matter. It's about 7:40. Just ahead of him on the right side, one of the neighborhood kids, which is just this 14-year-old boy named Tim Barrett, he was walking down the street. They don't know how, but Dave ran him over.
Oh.
On accident. Is what I'm understanding in every scenario of this. He ran over the kid on accident. Now, the kid they knew right away that like who it was, and he was on the road. He was super badly hurt. He raced home. He gets his mom, and he's like, I fucking accidentally hit a kid, blah, blah. Mom comes with him. Louise sees that the kid is very badly injured, and she's like, he's dead, and throws him into a body of water.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah. The mom literally is like, oh, he's dead, and just takes the 14-year-old boy and shoves him over to the side of the embankment, which was a body of water. Like a small, I don't want to say a trough, but like kind of like that, like a ditch with water in it. And then she just walks back and just go back home.
The boy's like, okay. I can't unpack that. That's so disturbing.
Yeah. And I mean, literally, like nothing happened. When the parents realized that their son's missing, they end up finding his body days later, and the kid had drowned.
Oh, so he wasn't
alive.
dead.
And they realized too that his injuries were bad, but he wouldn't have died from them. No. So all they had to do was call 911.
Yeah,
that was it. But the mom didn't. So that is the second big event, because then he literally saw at a very young age his mom kill somebody.
Yeah,
his mom murdered a 14-year-old boy.
They were, oh God. Okay.
And so then his brother was an accomplice, and so was he at, what was he, probably 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not heading in a good direction.
So then things get weird. I'm going to bounce, and I'm going to try not to bounce, but it's going to happen.
Bounce.
So in 1996, the Picktons begin a nonprofit charity.
What?
They call it
oh God.
The Piggy Palace Good Time Society.
I'm going to need you to say that one more time.
And it's under the aim to organize, coordinate, manage, and operate special events, functions, dances, shows, and exhibitions on behalf of service organizations, sport organizations, and other worthy groups. Here's where shit turns.
This is so weird.
Get ready. This one shit just goes crazy. And it basically becomes a playground for serial murder. So we now have the Hells Angels.
Okay.
Are coming to party on this in the Pig Palace, so which is essentially, just so you know, the slaughterhouse of the pigs. They converted it into a warehouse that they just had prostitutes, gang members, and everyone just do drugs.
Okay. Wait. So the Piggy Palace is where...
I'm sorry, the Piggy Palace Good Time Society.
Yes, I needed you to say that one more time. They run amok with the motorcycle gang, the Hells Angels, and just have parties for them.
Yeah.
And they call it a nonprofit.
Right.
And it's just sex workers and drugs and disarray.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
In a slaughterhouse. On a property that looks like disgusting as fuck.
I can only imagine what it looks like if their house looks like the way that you said.
Yes. Well.
Oh, God.
So they also say, too, like, at the end of the day, they knew that he had so much money, like that some of the guys, number one, they all made fun of him behind his back.
I bet they did.
Of course. And then they also mentioned that, like, he was so slow or dumb. I don't know. I don't want to act like any of his mental health issues weren't the fact that he was just a fucking raging psycho. I don't know.
Yeah.
That they'd be like, they're all addicted to drugs. So everyone that's involved, either the people that are working on the farm or the people who they're either recovering addicts or addicts, they're struggling in their own ways. And basically he would buy all the drugs. So there's always just a shit fuck ton of drugs. But people would be like, I need $10,000 to get me out of this bad situation. And he would actually give it to him.
Oh, no.
Because he was a millionaire.
Okay.
So this is where I'm going to kind of jump a rooski. Okay. I'm going to just kind of, let's just go. Let's go. On March 23rd, 1997, Pickton is charged with the attempted murder of prostitute Wendy Lynn Eistetter, who had been stabbed several times during an altercation that happened on the farm. Now, she had informed police that he had handcuffed her, but that she had escaped after suffering several lacerations. He ended up stabbing her in her stomach, her rib, her like chest area, and somewhere else.
Oof.
And she was able to disarm him, and she ended up stabbing him with his own weapon at one point. And he ended up going to a hospital, and she recovered and had to go to emergency room. Whenever she had left the farm, which I don't even fucking understand how she left.
That's what I was thinking.
Because she it shows her in this in the documentary, her just running off. And it's like, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
That's what I was going to say.
And you were bleeding out.
Yeah.
She was stabbed pretty badly.
Ugh.
He was released with a $2,000 bond. And the attempted murder case kind of just was ignored.
Because she was a sex worker?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, well, you're addicted to drugs. And so, high risk, occupation. And there's no way that you're going to be a credible witness. So fuck it.
It was 97?
This was 97. Mm-hmm. Furthermore, David Pickton, he was convicted. So his brother was convicted of sexual assault in 92. He got a $1,000 fine and he was given 30 days probation. In that case, the victim told police that David had attacked her in his trailer at the pig farm and she had managed to escape.
He got 30 days probation and $1,000 and he's loaded.
Right.
Okay.
Now, they were also being sued 3 times at the time for traffic offenses in 1988 and 91. And they settled all of those claims outside of court.
That's not shocking either.
Yeah. So now the Pickton brothers were eventually being sued by Port Coquitlam. It's just a kind of, anyway, it's a weird... Anything that's Coquit, Coquitlam, feels weird. Officials for violating zoning ordinances, neglecting the agriculture for which had been zoned, and having altered a large farm building on the land for the purpose of holding dances, concerts, and other recreations. They had essentially stopped the farming side of things and was just doing the crack whore kind of things.
Oh, my God.
And so that was registered as a nonprofit charity. And with the Canadian government in 96, they're claiming that that's not really what it was. And they were having more legal pressures here. So, I mean, they had legal pressures and they held a 1998 New Year's Eve party, after which they were faced with, let me hurry up and turn the page, faced with an injunction banning future parties. And they're like, we will arrest anyone that comes here to fucking party anymore.
Good.
That's 98.
Okay. I feel like that's foreshadowing.
It is.
Okay.
That was in 97. That was 98.
Yeah.
Like things happened throughout that time frame. And at that point, basically the Good Time Party Palace had disbanded or some shit. So just highlighting here the things that have happened, right? So we have a woman who was stabbed about 3 or 4 times. Somehow she was able to escape. Another person who went to the cops after she was attacked. Multiple traffic violations. You're being sued. Not to mention, tons of women are going missing on the streets here, and it's in 1999. The media coverage is hot. People
Really?
are taken to the streets. They're doing rallies. Like, where are these women? Figure it out. What the fuck is happening? Why is no one paying attention? Because the thing is some of the drug addicts who were prostitutes didn't have family, but a lot of them did.
Yeah.
And so it started that some of the women they had parents and families, Johns even, that were like, where the fuck are they? Like, what happened? A lot of them, it took them years before they realized that they were missing because they just hadn't had great relationships, or they thought that they were off doing something, and a year passes and they're like, wait, where's Susie?
It's good that the people weren't being quiet about it, that they were actually making noise. That's good.
Finally,
yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it had been 10 years. That is the part that sucks. This suck. Is 10 to 12 years almost of some things happening. No, you can't, because I basically jumped from 69 and went all the way to fucking 2000s. the meat and potatoes of time is really between 91 and 2002. So in February of 2002, the Canadian police raid Robert Pickton's property on a warrant. At the time, they're looking for illegal firearms because of all their other kind of drama. Now, 2 years before, they had this woman who was high on drugs, and she walks into a barn one night. She is basically the receptionist at the farm.
Oh, they need a receptionist?
I don't know. But she was like answering phone calls and doing really easy stuff. And she was like, I just loved it. I was making great money. I had a drug addiction before. I had a habit, but then it became really, really severe because I was making more money, and now I'm going through more rock than I ever did before because now I have the money.
Buy all her drugs.
Exactly. So it like gets quiet at some point. She had thought that there were like people at the farm, and then she just got she was like, what is going on?
Yeah. The suspense.
Right? I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I need to Google why I've been yawning a lot lately.
Here she goes.
Because I'm not tired.
You got to research.
But I need to know why I don't have enough oxygen in my brain. So she goes out to the barn because she sees the barn light on. And she walks in there and she sees a woman hanging from a hook.
What? Who
has been essentially like skinned and butchered.
No.
A woman. And he grabbed her and he was like, if you say anything, I'm going to kill you. And she was heavily addicted to drugs. And like, even later on, we'll get to it later, she'll admit that she had blackmailed him. Like, I'll just fucking say it now. She admits that later on, this trash woman, if you ask me, I don't give two fucks. You fucking suck, you cunt.
Yeah.
She ends up running. She comes into the police in this time frame in 2002, and she's like, I'll mention it. In 2000, she's like, I'll go on. I'll do a lie detector test and tell you what really happened. She disappears, and then she blackmails him. In the time frame, in that 2-year time frame, 11 women were killed.
So she went into the cops and then then backpedaled and then blackmailed them instead?
No, she just never showed up. She went in and I don't know if she was in there's like an injunction, like she was forced to come witness, like they had heard her say something and she just would not admit to it. Like at one point she's in a car and she's like, I just didn't know that fat was yellow. And she said it in a way that they're like, a normal human wouldn't know that unless she had seen fat on a human. Yeah. So that's how they were like, we know that you saw a body. And that she was like their number one witness, and she needed them to she needed to be there for court. Yeah. And she just didn't show up.
And 11 women
she went and did drugs
and
and blackmailed him for the money. And during that time frame, he killed 11 more people.
Awful.
The cops would also go in between this time frame. The cops get in so much fucking trouble. Like they get in the most trouble ever because all of these complaints, and the cops kept going out to the farm. And they'd be like, hey, Robert, can you talk to us? And he's like, I'm really busy. I'm processing a lot of pigs right now. Can you come back? And they're like, sure. And then they never came back.
No.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
100%.
I hate
the cops
that.
get in so much trouble.
Sounds like they should have.
On that February 6th, 2002, when the police execute that search warrant for illegal firearms on the property, both of the brothers were arrested, and police obtained a second warrant using what they had seen on the property to search the farm as part of the BC Missing Women's investigation. So in February, they'd gone and they were trying to find those illegal guns was really the thing. But whenever they went there, they ended up finding items of the missing women.
Oh.
Lots of items of missing
If you go without
women.
A warrant and that's not what you're searching for, are you allowed to
I think after that,
leave and come back?
My timing might suck, but and my apologies for this, but they went for that. They found the other items and then they started watching the farm.
Yeah.
And then they came back later and did that's whenever they were like, they murdered people.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. I feel like it was like one of the missing women's inhalers was like just sitting on a table or something. Like something like that.
Yeah.
And so they did have to come back. The following day, though, Pickton was charged with weapons offenses. That's what it is. They were both released. So they came in. They did have weapons charges. They arrested him for that. They ended up getting off for that, but then now they're watching him. February 22nd. I was like, I know I'm not off on here, but it was 20 days later. He's arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Serena Abbotsway and Mona Wilson on April 2nd. 3 more charges were added to the murders of Jacqueline McDonald, Diane Rock, and Heather Bottomley. A 6th charge for the murder of Andrea Josbury was laid on April 9th, followed shortly by the 7th, which was Brenda Wolfe. On September 20th, 4 more charges were added to the slayings of Georgia Papin, Patricia Johnson, Helen Hallmark, and Jennifer Firminger. Another 4 more charges.
What?
For the murders of Heather Chinnock, Tanya Holk, Sherry Irving, and Ingia Hall were laid on October 3rd, bringing the total to 15. On May 26, 2005, 12 more charges were laid against Pickton for the killings of Kara Ellis, Andrea Borehaven, Deborah Lynn Jones, Marnie Frey, Tiffany Drew, Carrie Koski, Sarah DeVries, Cynthia Felix, Angela Jardine, Wendy Crawford, Diana Melnick, and Jane Doe, bringing the total number of first-degree murder charges to 27.
That is... Oh, God. That's so sad.
And that is not even... half.
Oh, God.
So the excavations continued at the farm through November 2003. The cost of the investigation was summed up to $70 million.
Holy shit.
They have a C in front of it, so I don't know if it's Canadian dollars. I don't know how different Canadian dollars is to us. I don't think it's much, though. I could be completely wrong. So at the end of 2003, that's how much money it cost them to scour the property to the degree that they had to.
I'm sure it's a huge property, too, if it was
It was a
all
huge
that.
property, but then how hard they had to look for the DNA and where they had to look for it. So in the meantime, all of the buildings on the property, except for one of the small barns, had been demolished. The forensic analysis proved difficult because the bodies had been left to decompose or they were eaten by insects and pigs on the farm. During the early days of the excavations, forensic anthropologists brought in heavy equipment, including like 2 50-foot flat conveyor belts and soil sifters to find traces of human remains. On March 10th, 2004, the government revealed that Pickton may have ground up human flesh and mixed it in with the pork products that they sold to the public.
No, you said they did a lot of it, like a shit ton.
Yes. The worst part of it is that almost all of that the human remains, unfortunately, they had STDs, HIV, and severe, blood diseases. So imagine you're just hanging out and you're like, hey, if you bought any any pork from or anything, I guess it was pretty much just pork, but I wonder if they did anything with cows. But they were finding out now that unfortunately there were human remains in them and that they had AIDS.
God, could you imagine?
No. Be like, I ate a sausage McMuffin and I got AIDS. And they didn't know at the time either, like what could actually be transferred, but that is kind of one of the things that it could have been.
Yeah.
I don't think there were any cases that anyone came forward.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. This is a lot.
It is.
Your story is a lot.
I know.
I just want you to know that this is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
So another claim was made that they fed the bodies directly to his pigs. So that was one of the things. Like he had butchered them and then he had some of their bodies were found, heads were found in freezers, arms and stuff. And so he did actually mix it in with product, or he would just throw their bodies to the pigs and let the pigs eat them. In 2003, a preliminary hearing was held, and the clothes and the rubber boots that Pickton had been wearing during the assault of the woman that got stabbed that they didn't listen to, they seized those by the police. And in 2004, so years upon years later,
that was a long time.
They finally tested for DNA, and 2 other women's DNA were on the boots, which shows that they're either their blood or
what a fucking
flesh
psycho. Okay, so forgive me because you probably have said this, but I'm trying to wrap my head around.
There's a lot.
What you're saying?
Just?
Is it just him?
Just him.
It's not his brother.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. There's nothing that we necessarily see that depicts that. Now I'm sure his brother had it. Like, I don't know, because even like they were telling like the Hells Angels guys, like the people who were there, they're like, no, if you kind of go to the farm, there's a chance you're not going to come back from it. I just don't think people cared because it was Good Time Sally, you know?
I mean, the Piggy Palace, man.
Fucking Piggy Palace.
This is insane.
Yeah. So his trial begins January 30th of 2006 in New Westminster. Pickton pleaded not guilty.
For what?
To the 27 charges of first-degree murder in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. By the way, this ended up being the worst serial killer in Canada's history still to this day.
Yeah, they're known for being nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not nice. What the fuck?
27
counts, and there's probably more.
Yes.
Especially if the police didn't care.
Yes.
Okay.
So it took half of the year was just figuring out what was going to be admitted in court to the jury because it was so much.
Yeah. You said there's heads and freezer. Okay. I'm still just laughing at me because I'm like,
I was getting so passionate. There was like bags, like the women's bags where they had like books in their bags and like their inhalers and their shoes and just like they came over for a party, you know?
God.
The reporters were not allowed to disclose any of the material that they had in the argument, like in the arguments that were going on March 17th. One of the counts was rejected by Justice James Williams for lack of evidence. On August 9th, Justice Williams severed the charges, splitting them into two groups. Basically two groups. One group of 6 counts with another group of 20 counts. Like it was getting very hard to keep it straight. Essentially, the trial proceeded on the group of 6 counts. The remaining 20 counts were stayed for a later date in 2010.
Did they do like the slam dunks first or something? Like the ones
I
knew for sure.
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. The court part gets kind of like boring and weird, and you're just kind of like, wait, what's happening? He also like wrote a book.
What?
It doesn't matter. It was really just like a rampage. Over like
they
arrested him and he just like would talk about just a boar got me one time, you know, like I wanted to be in the army, but I had to come back and take care of the farm.
Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah. And so there was, because of the publication ban, full details of the decision were not made publicly available. But they explained they were trying all 26 charges at once would be unreasonable burden on the jury as the trial could have lasted up to 2 years. So like there's so many people that were killed. This is going to take forever for us to like go through it. We need to break it into different chunks so that we aren't taking the jury out of their lives for 2 years because they can't be around anyone either.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it made everything crazy. So the initial date for the jury trial on the first 6 counts was January 8th, 2007, but it was postponed to January 22nd. On that date, Pickton faced first-degree murder charges in the deaths of Frey, Abbotsway, Papin, Jones, Joesbury, Wolfe, and Wilson. The media ban was eventually lifted, and the details of what was found during the investigation were publicly released.
Oh.
During the trial, lab staff testified that about 80 unidentified DNA profiles, roughly half male and half female, had been detected on what was sent to evidence. A loaded 22-gauge revolver with a dildo over the barrel and 1 round fired, boxes of .357 Magnum handgun ammunition, night vision goggles, 2 pairs of faux fur-lined handcuffs, a syringe with 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside, and a Spanish fly aphrodisiac, I don't know what that is, were found inside Pickton's trailer. In a videotaped recording played for the jury, Pickton, get ready. Pickton claimed to have attached the dildo to his weapon as a makeshift silencer, which this explanation was impractical at best, as revolvers are near impossible to silence in that way.
That dildo can't keep that gun down.
No.
What a fucking idiot. And this gun's too loud. Give me that dildo.
Unless there's another concept that, and that wasn't mentioned, but like, what if he inserted that in them and then shot them?
I don't know.
Because that's my terrible mentality.
I mean,
he can say he used it as a silencer. In my mind, I'm like, did he kill these prostitutes that way? But a videotape also was shown of Pickton's friend Scott Chubb saying that Pickton. So this one was crazy. that Pickton had told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict was to inject her with windshield washer fluid.
No.
A second tape was played for Pickton in which an associate named Andrew Bellwood said Pickton mentioned killing sex workers by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to his pigs. Yes. Photos were shown of the contents of a garbage can found in his slaughterhouse, which held some of the remains of victim Mona Wilson.
What? Okay.
On December 9th, 2007, the jury found Pickton not guilty.
I'm sorry.
On 6 counts of first-degree murder, but he was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. On December 11th, 2007, after reading 18 victim impact statements, British Columbia Supreme Court Judge Justice James Williams sentenced Pickton to life with no possibility of parole for 25 years, the maximum punishment for second-degree murder, and equal to the sentence which would have been imposed for a first-degree murder conviction. He says, Mr. Pickton's conduct was murderous and repeatedly so. I cannot know the details, but I know this. What happened to them, the victims, was senseless and despicable.
Yeah, it was.
So,
Okay.
I mentioned all the names. I have a list of, so he, on December 9th, 2007, he was convicted of second degree murder of the 6 women. Mm-hmm. He also stood trial for first degree murder in the deaths of the other 20 women. And those charges stayed on until August 4th of 2010. I want you to see how many names the women are. Just
man,
3 pages of names.
Yeah, you named them.
I don't think I missed anyone. I'm making sure. I'm double checking that Jane Doe
to see if they ever.
Yeah. So that is whenever he was finally arrested, that woman who had fled, essentially, she did come back and she did claim that she saw him skinning a woman hanging from a meat hook years earlier, and that she didn't tell anyone because she was afraid that he would kill her. But I also think that she was just kind of a shitty person as well.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like she was a stand-up gal.
Right. The victim's children then filed a civil lawsuit in May of 2013. That's only 11 years ago.
Yeah. Against
the Vancouver Police Department.
Good.
Because they literally said, these women didn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't give 2 fucks. They did not care. Now, within the same time frame, I will say this. During that time frame, a man was charged with murdering prostitutes. This dude, straight up, if you watch The Pig Farm on Amazon, this dude looks like he fucking was an accountant. I would never.
Really?
It's just like the last serial killer that was just found. That his wife's hair was attached to the body. Do you remember? We were like, oh, the last serial killer last year that came out.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. It wasn't the Green River Killer, was it?
No. Shit.
It's going to drive me crazy.
Me too.
Well, we'll just have to do a story on him. But it was just a guy that you would have never guessed that was like just over here killing prostitutes. And then this other guy was arrested around the same time for killing prostitutes.
Ew.
So they say too that there's a chance that he just didn't like that there were other possible options on here and they didn't want they're like, we were also investigating other stuff.
Were you? Were you?
But no, they fucking weren't.
No, they fucking weren't. Okay, so this picture on all that's
disgusting.
Interesting is so creepy. There's like a pig hanging. He's got blood on his hands, and he's like, "I'm gonna say cheese." Like,
no, just normal.
Fucking scary. Ugh. Okay. Any hooser.
He was. Now those kids got $50,000
each.
Yeah, but so little when they could have been stopped for years. Basically, he had 10 years to continue to kill people. They tried to do some appeals, and I cut all of it out because I just don't fucking care. During the investigation, though, police uncovered just how Pickton had murdered these women. Through police reports and a taped confession from him, police concluded that the women had been killed multiple ways. Some of them had been handcuffed and stabbed. Others had been injected with antifreeze. He said that if you got injected with antifreeze, he was like, they were basically dead within 5 to 10 minutes, is what he said. After they were dead, he would either take their bodies to a meat rendering plant nearby or grind them up and feed them to the pigs that lived on his farm.
No.
So that meat rendering plant.
Wait.
He took him to a meat rendering plant.
And they did it?
They didn't know what it was.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure he didn't just take a whole
I know,
woman's
that's what I
leg
was
and throw
confused.
it in there.
So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Though he was charged with 26 murders, and despite evidence that he had killed more, he was only convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder because those cases were the most concrete.
Second degree.
The charges had been broken up, as I mentioned, so it'd be easier for them to sift through. And I mentioned that he got 25 years. That's it for a serial killer. 25 years. He killed more people than he got years.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Any other charges against him were discontinued as the courts decided that there was no way any of them could add to a sentence as he was already serving the maximum.
What the fuck?
Now, what we will say is that the number was 49. Like the number that he has in his mind was 49. And that he said that the only thing is that he was disappointed he couldn't make it to an even 50.
What a piece of shit.
Amazingly, this motherfucker is still alive in a super maximum prison in Quebec to this day.
He's not supposed to get out. When's he eligible for parole?
He can't get parole.
He cannot?
No.
Good.
So I think, doesn't that mean that he only has like until he's 25 years and that's it?
Let me look.
Like if there's no eligibility, like he gets out at 25 years, right?
I mean, they said that's the minimum. He's eligible to apply for parole, for day parole.
So he can go out and kill people during the day.
Yeah. No hearing has been scheduled, and they're bracing for what could be ahead, and that was a month ago. That was a news story a month ago.
So what year was that?
CTV News.
As I go back through to be like, what year was this, guys?
Yeah, on February 22nd, 2024, Global News reported that Robert Pickton is now eligible to seek day parole.
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine?
No.
They said everyone is basically like, that's unacceptable.
He'll just get murdered.
Oof.
Right? Don't you think?
That's so crazy that they're going to, like, where, does that mean he just goes out during the day and comes back and it's like, I got to go to sleep here?
Yeah. 100%. That's exactly what that is.
Why would you?
He could go and get a job or something. Yeah. That's 100% what it is.
That is insane.
And he's their biggest serial killer of all time.
You could
That's why you rewrite
somewhere.
laws. That is why you rewrite
They're pushing
laws.
to do something. Like, that's nuts. Like, you could drink and drive and then kill somebody and get just as much time.
100%.
Like, for making a dumb decision and ending someone's life, you could do that. I'm so pissed off.
2007. As I hurry up and grab a calculator.
Calculator.
2024. I said 2007?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. I'm a twat. 2024 minus 2.
Live math. Math and
It's so
facts.
hard.
Math and facts.
17 years.
17.
He's done 17 years so far. So he'll get out in 8.
No. No.
2020.
Nope. I'm calling Canada. We have 2% of our listeners are from Canada, so we need you guys to write letters.
Yeah.
Give us the phone number.
Fuck.
I need an email address.
I'm sure we aren't the only ones.
in
All the
charge?
victims' families and
Yeah.
everything.
Prime Minister? Is that who's in charge of Canada?
I don't ask hard questions, Heather. I'm still over here fighting yawns.
Yeah, you are.
No, the police failed. There are so many moments that they could have changed it, but they didn't listen.
Yeah.
And this was like in 2000.
That
like some of this shit, I'm like, I'll take that for the 70s,
yeah, then
80s.
yeah.
But once we fucking had Dahmer and fucking Gacy
Yeah.
and Bundy
Yeah.
and all these motherfuckers, we should, and the Green River Killer,
Yeah.
we all know that the serial killing happens with prostitutes. We know this. If someone's like, I want to kill people, they're going to do prostitutes. And then it's their fucking Ramirez who's like, I'm just going to kill anyone and everyone that I can walk into their house.
Right. Yeah. And that's why they used to pick people like sex workers, because they would feel like that
It was the easiest target.
the officials wouldn't think that their lives mattered.
Yeah, and they don't have as many people fighting, and nobody knows where they're at.
Or
and it's not
they-
like they're not going to go to work on Monday, and people are going to be like, wellness check.
Yeah. Or they won't go to the cops because what they're doing is actually illegal.
Right.
So,
And these women did.
yeah.
They
And
did go to the cops.
They still were like, ugh. It's so fucking frustrating.
It is.
Are they called cops up there? I'm asking you a lot of Canada questions because you did a Canadian serial killer. The look you just gave.
It's like, I think they're called cops,
Are
but I
they
don't fucking
Mounties?
know. I don't know.
I think it's Mounties. I'm doing a lot of Googling.
Well, I don't know. I didn't see the cute little outfits. There were no cute outfits in the show.
Canadian police called. Okay. It's fine.
Everything's fine. Yeah, they are in the cute little outfits.
They're Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
yeah.
They're called Mounties. I learned that on my honeymoon when we met all those Canadian friends.
Wow.
Because I was like, wait, what?
I guess too. I mean, it's my gosh. There's nothing worse than knowing that like the reason that you guys had the worst serial killer ever in the history was because you guys let him.
Yeah.
You let him. You literally fucking let him.
Yeah. He was like, I can't talk right now. I'm doing hot pig shit. And they were like, we'll come back.
It's cool, dude. It's not important.
Well,
It's not important. You
it's
stabbed
fine.
a woman for it. It's not a big deal.
It's fine.
Go do your thing.
I'm sure you're busy. People need their bacon. I'll see you later. Just kidding. I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
That's
Bullshit. A big old pile,
the
steaming hot bullshit.
There's a lot of shit in the story.
There is.
Literal and
Lots of smells. I heard too that like whenever he would like fight with his dad and stuff, he would like run and hide in the butcher shop. So he would like just hide under carcasses and things, like what was normal.
yeah.
Like that showering was not a thing that he did. Like that. Okay. You see your mom kill a little boy. There's a lot of crazy.
I wonder how he got involved with the Hells Angels. Like, did he just randomly meet one at the store and then he was like, "Hey, I got this slaughterhouse that you guys should party at."
I think it's because he took in a lot of prostitutes. Like that was the only way that he was getting fucked. So I think he had sex with prostitutes. So I think it was really what was going on with the prostitutes, essentially, maybe, or like he had friends that were known heroin addicts, and I think like it was just his genre of who he was around that brought in. That then the Hell's Angels were like, wait, we can party in this slaughterhouse and just do fucking crack,
Yeah,
and fuck women. Cool, I'm in.
that's so nuts.
And that's nuts,
Whole
man.
fucking story.
It's bullshit.
nuts. I was gonna watch this tonight, but I think I need a few days to process. I don't think I need to rehash it out. And
It's
see
very
it.
sad too because it's like all of it was drug addiction. None of this was like none of these women were like, you know what? I just love sex. I
Yeah.
love sex with fat guys, skinny guys, dirty guys, clean guys. I want to suck dick all the time. Just money. I want money from sex.
That's none of
it.
Someone's gonna take that audio right there of you
Just
saying that.
I just want the sex. I want it all the time. No, and it was just it's all addiction. And so it's very sad because you're seeing people who are, as they're talking through it, like the dude that he literally, this guy was just sitting there watching TV and he came up to him and he was like, and he's the one that was telling him the best way to kill a prostitute or a heroin addict. And he had shown him like a wire and a belt and all that. And he was like, and then 2 days later, he got jumped by some of Pickton's friends.
Oh.
Saying that he stole stuff. And he was an employee on the, he had $50, $100 here to fix something, rip up some weeds, do something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I knew that he did that. They jumped me so that I wouldn't say anything because he thought I was so on drugs. Like he just made the assumption that everyone that knew that was on drugs and he was helping feed the habit. So when you watch it, the sadness is really the drugs. If like, I don't know if any of this would have happened.
Probably not.
If he didn't have such a cornucopia of addicts.
Yeah.
Ready and available.
And he was probably kind of like, it didn't sound like he had a lot of friends anyway, so he probably used that to make people want to be around him. Like,
well, yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he probably.
That's why he picked people with drug problems, hired people with drug problems.
Mm-hmm. He was like, you will be my friend. Here's this baggie.
Yeah, here's
It's
how
sad.
I'm around people.
That's fucking sad.
It is sad.
The whole thing.
This is you guys another reminder. Don't do drugs.
No, please
do
don't.
Do the ones like weed. do the weed. Do the shrooms.
Or
if
not,
it
it's
is
your
organic, like stick to those. I'm just saying, if you got to do something, I'm not over here wanting to do cocaine. That stuff will frizzle.
It'll do that. No kidding.
Yeah, it'll frizzle up my brain or whatever. But like, man, just don't get into those hard drugs.
Man.
Don't be eating that battery acid.
Oh God, no. No. But you know what you can do? You can rate and review and
sure
subscribe.
can.
Or if you have a story you want us to do, you can DM us. That would be fun.
That would be
Since
fun.
we never check our email.
We don't. Do
just
something, and
message
Heather will
us.
get it because
Yeah.
Heather's the one that knows. Heather's the one that knows.
Yeah, do all that.
We love you guys.
We sure do.
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Theodore, can I bet that